right, y'all. So, hopefully we're starting to get a little better at this procedure. I gave y'all some data. This is stuff you would have found in the field, right, and recorded. All right, my head pressure. What would I expect my head pressure to be, y'all? 260. What would we base that on?
The 90 plus the 30.
Yeah. Ambient plus 30, and then convert. So that's 120. 30 plus 9 is 120. 120 converts to 260 pounds. You may have a question about that. But what was my actual? 315. All right, so is my actual above or below what I expected? Well, above it. I'm much higher than what I think I should have had. Okay? My suction pressure. We said we were going to base that off of 40 degrees, didn't we?
Yep.
40 degrees on 410A is what?
60.
119?
Oh, yeah.
We are 22.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. It's 69?
Wow.
Yeah.
Follow sheets at 68.
Yeah, that's close enough. One. I'm not going to argue with it. All right, but our suction pressure actually was 95. Is my actual above or below the expected?
Oh.
So my error shows it's above. My superheat, which is actual over saturated, right?
Yeah.
So my actual 61 minus my converted is what? 95 converts to what?
56.
Minus 56, is that what everybody got? That's about 5, is that what everybody got? Pardon me. What should it have been?
5
12.
Thank you, I forgot to say that. 5 to 12, no, yeah. Well, where are we? We are either okay or right at the base of low, right?
Yeah.
All right, what should my subcooling be?
10 to 12.
Yeah.
10 to 20 unless it's on the data plate. And here, this is just the opposite. Instead of actual minus saturated, on subcooling, it's saturated over actual. So I start with 315 and convert that. 134, is that what y'all got?
Yeah.
134 minus the actual liquid line temperature.
5%.
Is that 5? Okay. Now, is 5 above or below what we're expecting? Below. My amp draw. This is a 2.5 ton unit. What would I expect my amp draw to be?
17.5.
17.5, right? Because 7 per ton, unless it's on the data plate, which would be better. So 17.5. And we registered 23. Is this 23 above or below the expected? So I've got 2 up, and then skip one down, and 1 up. Does that register with anything? Dirty condenser, anything else? Filler bulb on the TEV or TXV, anything else? Now let me ask you, if we use the metal superheat, do they both have an arrow down? They do. Okay, so how do we know it's not the feeler bulb's loose? Because we don't have one. And so we would suspect this being a dirty condenser, right? Now y'all, what would y'all do to fix this? Clean it. what's the big thing here on, it's not overcharged? People go, hey, it's overcharged, Clay, it's overcharged. Why do I know it's not overcharged? Exactly. Extra liquid refrigerant makes my subcooler go up. Good deal. All right, let's take a look at this handout I gave y'all last time. Troubleshooting refrigeration. Let's hit a couple of these. Okay, I'm going to start on page 284, the first page, where it says 25-2 low suction pressure. With me? All right, I'm going to start on the second paragraph there under that. It says, normally suction pressures will operate in the range of 35 to 65 degrees boiling temperature in the high temperature range. So that's us, high temperature air conditioning. 35 to 65 degrees. What have we been basing our expected suction pressure on? 40. Haven't we? I said, what's the suction pressure? And we're basing off a 40-degree coil. But they tell us here it can actually be 35 to 65 and not be a problem. That's right. Let's talk about why would that be okay. Well, first of all, let's say we're going with 40 degrees, but let's say it's a very moderate day outside. You know, you could have maybe opened up the windows, but instead, you know, you ran the air conditioning, you were cutting the humidity down. There's not much load on the house. So that coil doesn't have much load to vaporize it. That can drive our pressures down. Now, just the opposite. They're saying 65. Your air conditioner system can be running perfectly. So you got a 3-ton unit at the house. Everything's working great. You cut the air conditioner off. It's 95 degrees. You come back a week later and cut it on. In that first hour, everything in that house is 95 degrees inside. The walls, the carpet, the furniture. Not just the air. The air is going to go to the coil and be cool. As soon as it comes back out, there's a temperature difference. The walls are 95. The furniture is 95. And it's going to give off its heat to the air. And the air is going to have to be recooled. So that kind of high load situation, there's nothing wrong with your air conditioner. It's just, it's above its capacity and it's going to drive our coil temperature up. If you don't believe me, invite 300 people over into your house. It's too much load. There's nothing wrong with your system, and it's not going to cool it, but unless the customer is willing to increase the capacity for that few times. Okay? All right, so, yes, sir.
What you use to clean your coil? I mean, you want to clean it.
Usually the inside coil I clean with a very, very mild soap and maybe a little bit of Clorox, something like that. I don't like to use any acid on it because if it gets in the air, you know, customers will sue you. Could sue you now. They're like, oh man, you. And some of these new coils, quite frankly, they'll say, hey, don't use anything other than this because these coils are not near as thick as they used to be. You know, some of them are not even copper. Some of them are aluminum.
So Clorox is good. You Clorox and water.
Well, trust me, muriatic acid clean them the best they were, but you may cut a hole in your copper, and everybody may pass out inside. But I mean, that's what we used to use, but can't get away with that now. All right, let's look at the end of the section. Before it says high suction pressure, it says the following can cause low suction. Improper load on the evaporator, poor load distribution, plug distributor or coil circuits, restricted or plugged liquid line, refrigerant pressure reducing device bad or misadjusted, undersized lines, refrigerant shortage, oil locked coil, low head pressure. So if you had a thing that had a low suction problem, this is more likely going to be one of these. Let's look at high suction pressure. Look what can cause it. Now, they break these down into two cases, y'all. First, it says excessive vaporization rate in the evaporator may be caused by improper load, like we said, 300 people. The refrigerant device or metering device is bad, or maybe just adjusted wrong, or an overcharge. Okay? However, if it's reduced in pumping rate and the compressor could be caused by, high head, overcharge, clogged condenser, defective condenser fan or the drive of it, the unit location, air in the system, restricted hot gas line, compressor bad. All right, let's take a look at high head pressure. Now, before we move on, high head pressure. It looks like I got about 5 or 6. Refrigerant overcharge, clogged condenser, defective condenser fan motor or drive, unit location, air in the system, restricted hot gas line. And so y'all just came up with section 2514, a clogged condenser on this one, didn't you? Y'all said the condenser was dirty. That's what they mean by clogged condenser.
Unit location.
So the air's not circulating. Maybe the contractor put it under a deck and it said, hey, I gotta have 2 foot, and it doesn't have 2 foot. But that unit should never run well, right? So more than likely it's going to be something like the bushes have grown up around it, some real thick bushes, and the foliage won't let it circulate air, that kind of thing. Now, if you see that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 reasons for high head pressure. Y'all see that? Do you see listed in those 6 high suction pressure can cause high head pressure? Do you see that? Do they list 25.3 as a possible cause of high head pressure? No. Go back to high suction pressure though. Do you see 25-4 listed, high head pressure?
Yeah.
So high head pressure, you go up, Clay, I've got high head and high suction. Which one should I look for? Well, high suction can't cause high head, can it? We just said that high head is not caused by high suction. The high suction can be caused by high head, okay? Let's move on to low head pressure. We've got low suction pressure, improper load, poor load distribution, plug distributor, restricted plug lines, undersized lines, refrigerant shortage, oil logged coil, compressor bad, and low ambient temperature. So, low head pressure can be caused by, do you see where it lists 25-2? The first one. Low head pressure can be caused by low suction pressure. Y'all see that? Go back to low suction pressure. Can it be caused by low head pressure? Look at the last one. Under low suction, low head pressure, 25-5 is the last one listed. So, low suction can cause low head, or low head can cause low suction. Y'all follow that? High head can cause high suction, but high suction can't cause high head, okay? All right. Now, let's move on to improper load. Y'all see that 25-6? What's the first line say? The most common cause of low suction pressure is insufficient load on the evaporator. Y'all see that? Now, before we go any further, this is what I would recommend you do with your pen. What is the number of this? It's 25-6, isn't it?
6.4.
25-6. Let's just keep that. That's the name of this symptom, improper load. Go back to your list of low suction. Is it listed there? Is improper load on the evaporator, 25-6, listed as a cause for low suction? Okay, so at the beginning on the improper load, I would write LS for low suction. This can cause low suction. Y'all follow me? In the section 25-6, right where it begins, it can cause low suction. Now, can it cause high suction? Go to your high suction stick and see if 25-6 is listed.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put a comma, and now I'm going to go HS. It can cause high suction. That way I don't have to look back and forth every time at a thing. All right, can 25-6 improper load in the evaporator cause high head pressure? It's not on the list, is it? Can it cause low head pressure?
Yes.
All right, so at the beginning of this section, in every section, that's what I would check. Low suction, in this case high suction, and low head, right? That's what this can cause. Now let's talk about this problem. Air. I'm not going to worry about water. The problem with air is the transfer medium. In other words, we have air going over the coil. Is usually due to improper blower speed, high duct or air passage, that's your duct work being too small, dirty air filters, clogged coil or dirty coil, or a combination, y'all. Doesn't this make sense? Filters get dirty, coil gets dirty. That's why this is the most common cause of low suction pressure. Okay? Is there a refrigerant shortage? No. We're just saying it is. Okay. So look where it says on the next right-hand comment. It says generally, high temperature applications, quotations air conditioners, operate with a 15 to 25 degree delta T through the coil. All right. Now I don't really agree with that. Most, if you go to your manual S put out by the ACA, they'll tell you 14 to 21. But I got no problem using this. 15 to 25, is that what they're saying here?
Yeah.
All right, so that means this air in this room goes right through that filter on the other side of the wall. It goes up to the coil, passes through the coil, and then goes through this ductwork. Where it, right before it goes in the coil, and right after it goes through the coil, they expect the temperature change, that's what delta means, change, is somewhere between 15 and 25. Y'all follow me? Not out here at the ductwork. You see what I'm saying? You may have a ductwork problem way out here or something. We're talking about at the coil, okay? Let's continue on. Not worried about medium temperature and low temperature. Because of the vast variety of refrigeration applications, the manufacturer should be contacted for proper delta T. Almost every piece of refrigeration equipment, not air conditioning, they make it to have a delta T, okay? And so that's pretty easy to check up. That's why we got such a wide variance there, okay? All right, liquid. I'm not worried about liquid at all. Y'all may occasionally run over somebody who's got a well or a pond, but for the most part, we don't do liquid, right? Almost all your equipment is there. All right, now, so the main thing here I'm looking for is, for some reason, right, we're having one of those symptoms, okay, and it's because the air quantity going over the coil. And the way to check it is the temperature, right? And if it's outside of that range, we got a problem. Okay? That's my check for that symptom. And most times we don't go, climb up in the attic or the basement, drill a hole and put in our probes. Chances are we're going to go look at the coil. We're going to look at the filter. Most customers, when they call you and you give them a time you're coming, if they've got a filter in the house, it's in there. Because they don't want to look like the person who doesn't take care of their equipment. And so, it's good to look, because some people don't even care about that, But, you open it up and there's a rug in there. But, just because they got a clean filter, you may have to eyeball the coil, okay? All right. Good enough. Let's talk about 25-7. Poor load distribution. Now, what will this cause? Is it listed on low suction? Yes. So it can cause low suction. Is it listed on high suction pressure? No. Is it listed on high head pressure?
No.
Is it listed on low head pressure?
Yes.
Yes. So it can cause low suction and low head, okay? Everybody see how we're setting this up? So we go through, so when you get your symptoms, because that's what we're going to have, head pressure, suction pressure, right? All right. With coil cooling air, it is very important that each circuit of the coil receive equal amounts of cooling load, so as to handle its proportionate share of the cooling load. If proper balance of air over the coil is not obtained, the capacity and the efficiency of the coil is reduced. The action of this unbalance, however, is different if the pressure reducing device is thermostatic or if it's a fixed cap tube. Okay? Let's see what they say here first about an expansion valve. The multiple circuit coil using an expansion valve and distributor and feeder tubes will divide the refrigerant flow equally through all the circuits. The figure 25.3 right next to it shows a flat coil mounted, doesn't look like a flat coil to me, but it's like an A-frame, mounted in a vertical position for horizontal airflow through the coil. The coil has 4 circuits fed by an expansion valve and a distributor. Therefore, each circuit would consist of a horizontal quarter section of the coil must receive the same amount of air to vaporize the refrigerant flow in the circuit. The situation with the greatest potential for unbalance is this: when the air must make a 90-degree turn before entering the coil. When air turns a corner, the centrifugal force produced when the air changes direction will cause the air to pack to the outside radius of the curve. As a result, the coil section on the outer part receives more air than the coil in the inner part. Alright, so does that make sense? Centrifugal force is going to throw our air out. So instead of vaporizing all the refrigerant in the circuits, we're doing that one side. Now you got to ask yourself, was there, this is a design problem. And it can be on the outside too, but it's hard to explain flow of air, just like water. But you get eddies when there's something in it, pressure builds up, pressure highs and lows. But this is primarily a design problem. And you got to ask yourself, how long has the unit been in there? You walk in there, you're getting low suction, low head. You look at it, you go, man, that air comes in right to the right of it beforehand. And it's only a year old, okay. But if it's been working fine for 8 years, I don't know. I would be thinking that we probably have a combination, something else that also caused low suction and low head, combined with a poor design, coupled up and caused. Does that make sense? Because I don't think, nobody's going to go into their own house and change the ductwork one day and go, it's not working right now. Okay? So this is pretty obscure. But it can, it can be that when it was new and everything was clean and all the pressures were perfect, it may do. It should have been done that way, but it functioned. And now you've got some other contributing factors to it, and now it's over the tipping point, so to speak. Let's do another one. Okay, what was it? We really didn't talk about the serious problem of this. Okay, I'm sorry, I should have said that. All right, so I don't know where it says it, but so this air goes through there. We're vaporizing. Okay, there it is. It does say it. I'm sorry. All right. Because the sections receive equal amounts of refrigerant, the liquid refrigerant in the section of the coil nearest the inner radius will not be completely vaporized. It will pass from coil in the liquid form and will cool the gas, leaving the entire coil assembly to a temperature colder than normal. All right, we have a bulb in a TEV, right? Our expansion valve has a bulb at the end, and it monitors the temperature, in other words, the superheat. This is going to tell the bulb that we have very low superheat, right? Think about it. I vaporize part of it like I should. I don't vaporize part of it. They mix. The non-vaporized cools down the gas. And so it looks like my superheat is very low. The bulb reads it and goes, "Oh, I'm starving the coil. Pardon me. I'm flooding the coil." And it's going to clamp down. When it clamps down and shuts down, then you have a refrigerant shortage. Does that make sense? All right, now the Cat 2 is just the opposite. It's not going to shut down. It's going to let the liquid pass on to the compressor, okay? Which, over time, definitely will kill it. All right. What's next? That was 25.7. 25.8. Plug, distributor, or coil circuits. All right. Will this cause low suction pressure, y'all? 25.8?
Yeah.
It will. Yeah. Will it cause high suction pressure? Nope. Will it cause high head pressure? Nope.
Low head pressure.
It'll cause low head. That's right. It'll cause low suction, low head. Plug, distributor, and coil circuits. Another cause of low suction pressure, especially on new installations, is a plug distributor port, coil feeder tubes, plug cap tubes. Y'all, these are the smallest things in the system, and so that's where they get clogged most, or clogged first. This causes the same reaction as poor air distribution over the coil, not able to produce the refrigerant fast enough in the proper range. Let's talk about this. Let's see. Let me back up for a second. Go back to the last section before we did this. You see where it says regardless? I should have read all that. I'm sorry. Regardless of the pressure or metering devices, the coil should be checked to make certain that the temperature drop of the air through each circuit cross-section is approximately the same, and that the temperature rise of the refrigerant in each circuit is the same. So let's think about this. First of all, we said what was our range. Y'all remember that for high temperature? We learned that in the first one. 15 to 25. I prefer 14 to 21, but that's all right. And the reason for this, y'all, is You cut the air conditioner on, and we got a lot of humidity in here, well, then I'm going to be removing a lot of latent heat, and my number goes down. If I got a good dry room and all I'm doing is cooling air, I'm going to have a higher sensible number, okay? So, but unlike the first test, when we're checking it, for dirty air filters and stuff, here I need to check it over each section of that coil, okay? And they do a pretty good job. If you've ever looked at these coils, they take those circuits and interweave them in and out. And so it's pretty, it's not like this section here and this section here. What you're going to be looking for is, if it's an A-frame, is the temperature on this side the same as this one, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to move on back to plug. Test results leaving air temperature test will be the same for improper air temperature drop throughout the section, except for the temperature of the gas leaving the section will be considerably higher than the rest of the coil section. Now, what we like to do here is look for a frost line. When we have a pressure drop, we usually see, and it's in that area, it's going to be cold, and you can usually see a frost line where it's plugged up at. Problem is, how you going to see in there? You got to take the cover off. So you got to be careful about when you take the cover off, make sure the air is still blowing through the coil, because when you take the cover off and the air is blowing you in the face, it's not going over the coil, and the coil is going to freeze up. So sometimes you have to rig it where you can see it real quick and shut it and look, and just depends on how the design of your system is, okay? You say, okay, well, how did this happen? How did this plug or coil problem? All right. Whenever we have a condenser and an evaporator that are very far apart in height, we run this risk, okay? Now, when the compressor runs, virtually all residential equipment, we have oil that moves with the refrigerant, okay? We want the oil where? It's for the compressors. But we can't help it. We're blowing out 400 pounds of pressure. Something's going to blow with it. Fine, it's made to move with it. All systems are designed to have a certain velocity of that refrigerant moving through the system. They move pretty good. Cut a line open when it's running sometimes. You'll see. All right. The problem is that refrigerant and the oil moving through the system is satisfied and cuts off. So the oil then, the pressure, once the pressure equalizes, doesn't move anymore. Where is it at? What if it's in the coil? Okay. Now, if the evaporator's in the attic, there's a good chance when it cuts back on, it's going to blow it out. But if it's in the basement, it's probably there, good to go. So, when you design this system, you always put a trap. In other words, let's say my condenser's here and my evaporator's here, okay? We run this line down, right? You want to go in here, right? But if this system stops, I don't want all this filling my evaporator coil. So we would always come out, put a trap. Enough to hold it, probably five inches is more than enough. Same way coming back out, I come back out, run back up here with my suction line, I got oil, right? I don't want it running back in here, so what I'm going to do, build me a trap. And I would usually put a trap up here too. Okay? Just proper design of the duct line. All right. So what now?
How far do you have to go up before you put the trap in?
If it's going to be 10, 12 foot, I'm going to make sure I put a little trap in it. And it doesn't have to be separate pieces. I just take my line and make sure it goes up and then back down to trap. Okay, Okay, so that's on new stuff, right? You didn't put it in. You're there 5 years later, and we're experiencing low suction and low head because we see the coil is plugged. I've seen this in here in the refrigeration class lots of times. Trust me, it's a dead deal. You're not going to clear the coil of that oil in. Once it gets that thick, you're going to have to put in a new coil. All right, so how does that happen when it's not a new design that it ran? Well, there are different things that you do, and sometimes you get excess of oil in there. A lot of times, a service technician will charge, and he's not using new refrigerant. In other words, virgin refrigerant doesn't have oil in it. Every other refrigerant, if you got a recovery tank, has oil in it. Let's say we had a compressor burn out at 3 years for some reason. Let's say unrelated reason. Did they get all the oil out? Because the new compressor comes charged for the amount of oil it needs. See what I'm saying? So there are ways this happens. Don't worry, it's not something that comes up all the time. It's just one of those rare things. Sometimes you get oil off the coil, okay? And what kind of symptoms it's going to give you? Low suction, low head, and when we go to look, we may see frost lines. And it doesn't always have to be oil. It can just be a plug, with trash too, okay? All right.
Wouldn't a low charge cause frost too?
It could, and we'll get to low refrigerant, but that's going to be, it's going to have some other symptoms too that hopefully, that's what I'm saying. We do 5 over here so it helps clear away what it is. In here, they're telling you what can be, but you have to know how to test the different ones to determine what the problem is, okay? All right, why don't we stop there? That's our